Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 2, Episode 35, where we watch Steve Austin's Broken Skull Challenge, Season 5, Episode 8. I'm Chris Lorenzen.
Robert Kitts.
Harrison Hoffman.
Max Garita.
What a doozy today.
Oh, man.
It's a doozy.
Quite a show.
Hot take, I liked it.
I thought it was definitely watchable.
It's an entertaining show.
I would probably not come back to it, but I liked it.
Harrison, do you want to go over the description of the show quick?
Yes. Okay. Hall of Fame professional wrestler Steve Austin is back for an all-new, tougher, meaner, and nastier season of Broken Skull Challenge. Once again, he's inviting 8 elite athletes to compete in head-to-head battles until only one is left standing. That man or woman earns a chance to win $10,000 by taking on Steve's updated and even more difficult personal obstacle course, the Skull Buster. That's Steve Austin's Broken Skull Challenge on CMT.
Then why is it called the Skull Buster Challenge?
Because you end up with a broken skull unless you're good enough.
Okay.
Because you fall off that very high climbing rope.
The Broken Skull Challenge takes place at Broken Skull Ranch.
That's right.
Which came first, the ranch named Broken Skull Ranch or the Broken Skull Challenge?
Do we think that Broken Skull Ranch is an actual place, or it's just like what they call the area that they go out to in the desert where they shoot this show?
So I Googled it. There is a brokenskullranch.com, but it seems to be all about this show. Like they have a section where they advertise the ATV that's on this show. There's a Broken Skull IPA.
Oh, man.
How do we get this Broken Skull IPA?
Why are we not drinking
brokenskullranch.com.
Wow.
But so if it's not like a ranch, like it's not like a hotel or whatever you could go out and stay at, what do these people do overnight? Like, do they go home and come back?
They just break their skulls.
There must be like a urban area nearby that they can put them up at.
It's weird to me that it's not like an actual ranch.
I mean,
or is that just Steve Austin's house and he put this thing in his backyard?
If there
and
was
then CMT came to them and was like, "Yo, we could do a reality show with this obstacle course in the backyard."
That's what I love to imagine. That Steve Austin just bought a ranch 15 years ago, named it Broken Skull Ranch, had Broken Skull Ranch like a decade, and then CMT's like, "We got an idea for a show. Can you put some obstacles in your ranch?" And he's like, "Yes, I can."
No, I think he already had one.
He already had obstacles in it?
Yeah.
Well, that's the conceit that they lay out in the description, is that this is Steve Austin's personal obstacle course that he uses to train. That's what it seems like.
I feel like his neck would not allow him to do a lot of these challenges.
Do you think 52-year-old Steve Austin is running the Skull Crusher?
Oh,
Not under 8 minutes.
I do think he should do it in the first episode to be like, I can do it. You newbies can too.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's just going to be him doing it in 20 minutes. And hey, you guys, you do it in 8.
They don't show the time, and there's some questionable editing in Steve Austin running the challenge.
He can barely keep up in his little cart.
Yeah, we'll have to get to his military-grade golf cart.
The one thing about the show is that it's moving. There's not a lot of... Not until the end.
No filler, mostly.
The end is a little too much.
Well,
but
the
beginning...
only filler is that there's... When the final obstacle course, they show you someone else running the whole course, and then they show the actual...
Well, they also recap the first 3 or segments or whatever.
Not very much. I guess a little bit.
The show's moving.
The show's moving.
Yeah, so the format of the show, if you are unfamiliar with it, is it's basically a bracket between 8 people. You have 4 rounds of the first one, 2 rounds of the second one, 1 round of the third one, and then one mega challenge at the end for the winner of the bracket.
Yeah.
And I don't think you get any money unless you beat the other person's time.
That's what it seemed like.
So yeah, it seems like what the format is if you have the best time, then you just continue on as the defending champ, and then if the other person who wins next week can't beat your time, then you get the 10,000 instead of the person that won, right?
I don't know.
That's what it seems like.
That's what it seemed like, because the old challenger got 80,000. Spoilers.
Sure.
We'll watch one where they won, and this new person got 10,000 for beating her.
Right.
So you have to assume that next week, when somebody doesn't beat her time, which season 4 had 10 episodes, so this was the 8th episode. There should be only one more female episode.
I guess also to point out, so this was the episode we saw, the 8 contestants are all women, and it seems like they alternate. Like one episode, it's 8 men trying to beat the best man's time, and then 8 women who try to beat the current best woman's time.
Do we know why the show's on country music television
I think they have like some sort of contract thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
with Stone Cold Steve Austin?
The reason I believe this is I found another show called Steve Austin's Redneck Islands, which appears to be some redneck bachelor in paradise or something.
Oh man. So like, okay, so if they're leaning into this Steve Austin redneck situation, then I don't understand why he didn't come out and crush some beers at the beginning of the show like he does when he wrestles.
He's trying to have a more family-friendly tone now.
Oh,
okay?
it's more family friendly now. Yeah, we're not crushing beers anymore. We're just breaking skulls,
And
like,
we're
it's okay.
cursing a fuck ton.
He's out in that Texas sun. You can't be dehydrating yourself too much crushing beers, in the middle of the day.
That's
You definitely know he went back and crushed some beers once they were done crushing
Do we
skulls.
know how much
okay.
he's drinking anymore?
It's okay if he alternates crushing beers and crushing water bottles. I'll let him alternate drinks.
What about crushing skulls?
Oh, he's already doing that.
All right, so the first challenge here, they had a bracket of 1v1. They had a 9-foot rope attached, one person on one end, one person on the other end, and then there was like a bell. I don't know, like 20 feet.
Not 20 feet. Oh, sorry.
Like-
I was thinking up in the air.
That would be
You
an
have to
insane
be-
jump.
It's double the height of a basketball rim.
You have to stand on the other person's shoulders while also dominating
oh
them.
my god! You have to beat them so badly they have to agree to stand there while you stand on their shoulders and ring the bell.
I think the whole pitch was like 40 feet, and like they started in the center,
Yeah,
so they had to go from one side to 20 feet to their like bell,
yeah.
and like hit the bell, and then they won. The other person like had to leave.
And the bell's about 6 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
I'd say.
It's definitely enough where you have to jump a little bit at it.
You have to jump a little bit, but they're all like under 6 feet.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
A little over it. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. It's definitely like a challenge from the challenge.
It definitely is an elimination challenge from the I think that they might have had this not if not this exact one, then one very similar to it on the challenge.
Do you feel like it was more like brutal in the challenge? That these are more like, people who are there just to compete physically and not there to also drink and politic? Or was it equal
Oh,
to
I
the
mean,
challenge?
I think that I think it was similar in terms of like the physical aspect of it. I mean, like it seems like on average the people on this show were probably in better shape than the people on the challenge.
The people in everyone on the show is in better shape.
like they're all
than
big
most of the people on
fitness
the
CrossFit
challenge.
people. Like they're all probably the same shape as like the best people on the challenge.
Well, the time commitment for this show
yeah.
is like this is definitely a weekend show, or like
Yep.
they filmed it in like a week maybe.
Right,
I think, except for the person who goes to the Bone Crusher, I think it's all in one day.
Oh yeah, I mean that but if you expecting to win, and you mean
Oh yeah, then you stay for multiple episodes. Yeah, you're just
Yeah.
there for like a week. Yeah.
I don't know if they film all 10 episodes in a week or they just film it over every weekend.
I bet they fly in Steve Austin for 2 weeks and they just bang it out.
Yeah,
you don't think he's
probably.
living at the Broken Skull Ranch?
If you take the attitude he's living, that is his personal ranch, he's living there, then yeah, they can take their time. If you take the attitude that that's a conceit of the show, they're flying him in, busting him out, flying him out of there.
They really should have a sub-reality show where week to week they just have the reality show of the two defending champs just living with Steve Austin at the ranch. They really need that part.
That would be great. What do we name that show?
I think that show is just Broken Skull Ranch. And
Oh,
I think
Steve
that-
Austin's Broken Skull
yeah,
Ranch.
I think
Yeah,
that's the
okay.
ranch part.
Do they do like ranch activities on the thing?
Yeah, they
Or are
gotta
they
help-
just crushing beers.
They're mostly crushing beers. Occasionally they have to help wrestle a bull or something.
Eventually, sometimes they have to go out and do the challenge, and then sometimes they're off the show.
Yeah.
Like
They-
the defending
they actually
champ
have to
has.
help. They actually have to help Steve Austin maintain the obstacle course throughout the week so that it's ready for the next people.
They
Sorry,
gotta
Max.
they gotta reset the course.
The defending champ has literally nothing to do once they win. They just have
Yeah.
to show up in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or whenever.
Or
It's-
2 days from now.
Sure, it's so strange.
I mean,
They could like.
I feel like the logistics of doing it all in 1 week, of getting, eight new contestants every day.
Dude, you're not just getting 8 new contestants every day. You're running the whole bracket for like 4 different groups a day. You're putting all those people through these challenges, and then you're running all the people through the obstacle the next
So you're
day.
saying they have 5, they've like 10 episodes. So you're saying they're filming all of them in what, 5 days, 4 days, 2 days?
I'm saying that you can get probably 2 to 3 at least groups through the bracket in 1 day. Like, if you're shooting like an actual day's worth of shooting, you can do it in 1 day. There's not a lot of setup in this thing. Like,
I mean, the lighting in the show seemed pretty like solid. Like in terms like
The
in terms
lighting
of,
from the sun?
like the camera. It wasn't like, oh well, this is clearly the morning and this is clearly the night. It
Oh,
all
that's
seemed
true,
like
that's
it was
true.
like all the same time.
yeah,
essentially.
because I think it's quick to move between the events. I think they can knock the whole group out pretty quick.
So you're saying this whole 10 episode thing they filmed in 3 days?
I'm
4
just
days?
saying that if you want to shoot this thing quickly, and when you're shooting stuff like this, you want to minimize the number of days you have to hire a crew for. Like, you can move these people through. Like, I don't know.
Oh, whatever. I don't really argue about it. We can't even tell.
No, we definitely don't know.
Do we have much to say about the challenge itself? Like,
Yeah. So we had that kind
a
of
lot of people pulling on ropes,
Tug of
and
rope-
tug of roar on the
tug of
ground,
war.
and
yeah.
it was
There wasn't-
intense.
It was just kind of most of the contestants just like, got a little bit their way and then it just kept pushing it their way. It wasn't like there wasn't a lot of back and forth.
There was
Like,
one that had some back and forth, but
there was one where like the one person got it initially and then the other person just
yeah. Once you
ran
get
away
like
with
more
it.
than a third of the way down, like that person's gonna win, even if it takes like another 5 minutes.
I've certainly seen similar challenges like this, and the challenge go for like an hour, or like just something crazy of people just dig into the sand on one of those things, and it just camping out there.
Oh
Which
yeah.
like I'm surprised you didn't see anybody dig in a little bit more. Maybe the ground is pretty hard out there on Broken Skull Ranch, but
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you'd think you'd expect a little more dirtier tactics, but maybe it's just like you're coming in fresh. You don't really, want to be clocking people out or
I
something.
wonder what the rules were on because except for one time, it really seemed like they were only allowed to grab the rope.
yeah.
And so I think maybe I just missaw it, and that really they were only allowed to grab the rope, and so you weren't allowed to do. This wasn't the dirty 30. You weren't allowed to do things too dirty.
it definitely didn't seem like full on wrestling.
It didn't seem like you were allowed to pick them up,
This
No.
was
Just-
not the dirtiest season ever.
No.
throw them in the
Yeah,
ground.
because no one tried to pick anyone up. I'm pretty sure those are the rules. And this is the thing, like, this show's moving. Steve Austin doesn't explain any rules. He's just like, there's a real quick, like, yeah, there's a rope. You got to ring the bell and then just go. And then you just watch them battle.
I didn't even understand that this show was gonna be a bracket until like in the
Until
very
they showed the
like,
bracket.
Yeah, like in the very beginning, there were like 2 people who were kind of like shit talking to each other during like the intros, and they're like, "Okay, you guys go fight now." There's just bracket, and it just like I had no idea that was even the format.
And
of
it's
the
also
show.
crazy, like, the one girl was trash talking a bunch. They do that rope thing. They ring the bell. It's like, walk off. You're done.
See ya.
Start stepping down the road.
I was
Yeah.
definitely expecting this to be more like a challenge show
Yeah.
where, they're all in the house and they're all like doing these random challenges every day.
In the
Yeah.
ranch house, as you would say.
Yeah.
That's some
That
sort,
would
of, some sort of Broken Skull Ranch.
could have filled this show out a little bit.
I think instead of like having a returning champ, they should have like 8 episodes of women, and then the 9th episode is like those 8 competing against each other, the winners of those 8 episodes.
That would be great. Or they could build a whole other challenge style season around all the winners.
Oh, the whole tiered
yeah.
reality show type idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get relegated back to the shittier tier when you lose in the top
Yeah,
tier?
B League, you're just out. Yeah.
Or are you just gone?
You're out.
Redemption Ranch.
Who hosts Redemption Ranch? Is it The Miz also? Because he's a
Oh,
wrestler?
I hope not.
It's just like Stone Cold's best friend Peter Thiel.
Oh man.
Deep
Alright,
cut.
I mean, it was entertaining to watch this challenge.
Yeah.
I feel like the production of this show is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a ton of production, but like it moves along very quickly.
I mean, I feel like the camera work is pretty great. It's pretty good.
it's
I don't know.
surprisingly good. Yeah.
I like the camera, and also like that, multiple times someone jumped for the bell and just missed it, and they did like the really nice slow mo. It wasn't weird
Yeah.
and cheesy like the "Are You the One" slow mo.
Oh,
it was
man.
like very effective slow mo.
I feel like the
Good
lighting
slow-mo.
effects in the show are pretty good. Like, it's definitely not. They're definitely doing some filtering, like making it more orange. I thought, but like, I think it made a great tone for the show.
Yeah.
It doesn't suffer from a problem I have with the challenge, which is that they do a lot of editing and cuts, so you can't really tell how far the two challengers are from each other. This one,
Right.
like, you sort of always have an idea of this is pretty real time. This is where one person is. This is where the other person is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, the design of the challenges made that really like it would be hard to have done that with the design of these challenges. To like say, oh, this person's way behind,
Sure.
but make it look like they're close, just because of the design of how these challenges were set
Yeah,
up.
but it's also the fact that like these aren't challenges that take like an hour to do. So it's just like it's over pretty quick.
They're
So
like
there's-
little
they don't-
5-minute matches.
Yeah, so you don't need to hide the fact that like it's not like, oh, this person's way behind and I got to watch it for another bit. It's like, oh, and now
Well,
it's done.
they raced through the first two challenges, and then the third and fourth challenges they like slowed it down considerably.
They do slow down a little bit. Yeah, that's true.
Well, I mean, they run every match in real time. It seems like it's like it doesn't seem like there's a lot of bullshit happening with that stuff.
I mean, it's even quicker than real time. I thought.
Well, I mean, then that means that they're editing it.
I mean, they're definitely editing it.
I mean, like most of them I think were pretty. I mean, it seemed like they were. You got to see the whole thing. I don't know.
You can see most of it.
Yeah.
All right, should we move on to the second challenge?
Yeah, but what was the second challenge, Ron?
Second challenge was they start off by a post the bell on it, the same as before, and they run, and there's 2 7-foot walls they have to jump over, and then they jump into this pool, I guess, I don't know, like something with water in it, and then there's this weights you have to sort of lift with your shoulders. You have to sort of carry it down the pool, lay it on a stand, so you can turn around, pick it back up again, and take it back where it started. Then you jump out of the pool, you jump back over the walls, and you'd be the first one to ring the bell.
Yeah.
It was also pretty exciting to watch, I thought.
Well, mini obstacle course.
Even though each race kind of was determined pretty quickly, it was still entertaining because it's actually challenging. It's not like a, baby course.
Yeah, by the time they got to the first end of the pool, you knew who'd won. It was done.
Yeah, for sure.
Unless unless this one person just falls with their weight in the pool and like nearly drowns, then it's pretty much done.
It's
possibility. It's a
more
possibility.
drama is what you wanted.
I wasn't ruling it out,
But you were close to.
we're pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's also the contestants. I mean, I can't tell you any of their names. They're like pretty nondescript.
Not a lot of time for character development when you're running through this thing.
I can tell you one of their names. Margarita.
Margarita.
There's Corinna. There's April. There's Santia. There's
Something like that.
Margarita. That's all I got.
Okay.
That's half. That's pretty good.
We were debating.
Oh, there's an Amber. There's an April.
Oh,
and an
yeah.
Amber.
There's,
They went head to head.
Braces McGee.
Oh,
I don't
jeez.
think that's what her name was. We were debating whether Steve Austin had cue cards or they just did lots of takes until they got all his names right.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
So the first scene where Steve Austin meets the 8 women, there's this great thing where he doesn't use any of their names. He's just like, pink shirt, why are you here on the show? Purple shirt, what are you here to prove? And it's like not referring to any of their names and just calling them by the colors of their shirt. And I was really hoping he was going to do that for the whole episode.
That would have been great.
By the time we get to the first challenge and they've got the bracket set up, like he says all their names, but yeah, that's where we got to like, are there cue cards? Does he have the bracket in front of him so we can read the names?
I mean, I think at least in that first part, like because the show is so cheap to shoot, you just set up that camera and you just let Steve Austin go for it until you get some gold, and that's
How much is Steve Austin scripted, and how much is just him using his wrestling?
I think
Persona.
Persona.
I think that it's 90% him using his wrestling skills, his wrestling talking skills.
So do you think there are any writers on this show?
I really don't know. Like, you got to have like one maybe, but I think in general there's not a lot. I mean, for a lot of the show, Steve Austin is just giving play-by-play commentary in these challenges, and it's insane to listen to. Like, it's insane.
So
His
play-by-play.
play-by-play is so detailed.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well,
I want him on Monday Night Football.
Harrison, let me get this straight. So you're saying that this show is filmed in like 3 days,
Yeah.
and Steve Austin is coming up with all these unique one-liners.
Dude, how do you
For
know if
all
they're
these
unique?
people? Every day he's coming up with like 50 one-liners. You crazy?
What do you mean
Were
50
there that many
one-liners?
one-liners?
for 10 episodes for a whole season.
I don't know.
That's like 5 one-liners an episode. That's not a lot.
I just think that dude's a character, and you just let him talk for long enough, and you get all the content you need.
Maybe if you watch enough episodes, you just the one-liners start repeating. They're not as good.
Maybe.
Chris,
I don't
what
know.
was your favorite one-liner?
You sent it to me, I think, because I
All those writers doing such a good job with the one-liners.
My memory's terrible.
Harrison, what was your favorite one-liner?
I don't remember any.
I remember one, but I sent it to Chris, so you could say.
Out badass, a true badass.
How badass, a true badass.
I really
After
liked that.
somebody won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was definitely pumping out some one-liners there. I mean, they weren't amazing, but they weren't like bad.
No, sure. I mean, but like,
They're not like you're watching a movie with the Rock when
Yeah.
he has like lots of writers rating them.
yeah,
but,
like it's not like The Hero where it's The Rock giving insane monologues about things. Like there wasn't a lot of that kind of stuff. It was just a
No.
lot of short little chops of like, oh, Steve Austin said something funny.
That's right.
Man, I don't know. The show is crazy,
Yeah.
but I do want him as a regular announcer on.
I like the
All
fact that after
sports.
one of the challenges, the two contestants hugged each other because they were like, good match. He goes, "There's a hug right there. That's a hug of respect." It's
Hug of
like
respect.
he's still play by play.
Oh man,
the play-by-play is great.
it's. Oh man.
So someone asked, is all the play by play live, or is he doing some play by play filling in? I say it's all live.
I think it's all live. The
It's-
more we watch, like definitely the end is all live.
It's not good enough for them to have written it
Right.
and have him read it later. Like,
That's what I think. Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna post it in, you do it a little differently. And this has just got to be stream of consciousness from
Yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
that's what the crowd
pretty
wants.
generic.
Just like unfiltered, whatever comes out of Steve Austin's mouth.
I mean, there's definitely not a lot of writers on the show. I mean, the only time I feel like a writer would be useful is in the beginning with the one-liners.
And like season 5, like he's got a feel for this thing 5 seasons in. I don't know.
I mean, if you had a couple writers send some one-liners and he could use them for anyone,
That's definitely
realistically.
true.
Like, it's not like
That's probably true.
he doesn't need to...
It's just Stone Cold with sitting around the ranch, drinking some beers with his buddies, coming up with all these jokes.
I'm not sure how much Stone Cold is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, I don't know him versus his, 1990s wrestling persona.
It's hard to know.
What if in the Broken Skull Ranch TV show, it's the other two winners are helping him come up with one-liners every week?
That's part of that's one of their tasks.
Definitely part of it. Man. So much can be mined from this universe.
All right, let's move on to the third challenge here. So we had some sort of sleds set up on, I don't know, whatever. They were like pulled on.
It was like a track. You
Was
could
that a
pull them
track?
on. I think there was like a little track, but it clearly was like hard to pull those sleds.
Yeah, they were like the sleds were like 70 pounds or something.
Yeah.
And then while they were pulling them, they had to
And
put
like,
on.
they had a rope tied
Yeah.
that they could help them pull it. Like by pulling on the rope, they could help them pull the sled.
Yeah. They were pulling on a rope that was connected to a sled. If that makes it clear in your mind. And as they were pulling them, they had to take 50-pound barrels and put them on the sled, 2 of them, and then pull it, I don't know, like 40 feet, 50 feet, something like that.
Something
Seemed
like
pretty
that.
tough.
Yeah. The one person that looked really in shape was definitely having a hard time at the end there.
April.
She came out to an early lead, and then she's lost some steam there.
And then
Yeah.
once you got to the end, you had to enter the wrestling pit.
Yeah.
The pit.
The pit.
The pit.
It's the pit. It's the pit of your lifetime.
It's the toughest pit of your life.
He just kept on saying it's the pit of your lifetime.
So in every episode, is it just the pit of your life?
Well, I don't know if it's the same challenges every episode.
I think that pit is in every episode.
the pit sounds pretty iconic.
So you think it's a different obstacle thing that leads to the pit?
I
but
think
the pit's every
possible.
I think that the championship round always ends with the pit.
episode? Okay.
In some
I think
form.
so. But you think they'd be more prepared for the wrestling bit if that's what it was?
It's interesting. Like it is really interesting because like the skills that end up being important in the pit and like and somewhat in the first challenge aren't really the same skills that help you do well at the obstacle course at the end of this thing.
Sure. Yeah, you have to be well rounded.
You definitely have to be you have to be a little bit scrappy, able to wrestle in addition to the obstacle course skills.
Yeah. I mean, once they're in the pit,
So the
two
first
wrestle.
Person, the first person gets to the pit, And so the advantage of trying to do the sled thing faster is A, you get to rest a little bit while the other person's still trying, and B, it seems like the other person has 1 minute to get into the pit.
Seems like you could skunk them.
So it seems like if they don't get to the pit within a minute, then they're just DQ'd. But this person got to the pit like 30 seconds to spare, but only had like 30 seconds to rest. The other person had more time to rest.
Yeah.
But like Steve Austin's like, I'll let you know how much time you have so you can wait till the last second to get in the pit to maximize your rest if you want to.
Yeah. What a good guy.
it seemed like she was just too gassed to win. Like, I feel like
I don't know, that pit went on for a while.
It was a long pit.
we don't really know how long it was, to be honest.
Steve Austin said it was the toughest pit he'd ever seen.
5 seasons.
He says that every week.
Steve Austin wouldn't lie to me.
You don't know who Steve Austin is.
And so it ends with Corinna. Is that her name?
Corinna
beating April.
The grad student.
And once again, so she won her first challenge largely because of strategy, and she wins the wrestling challenge again because of strategy, because her opponent says at the end that she had no strategy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I hope that there's not this pit every episode, because you think if there was, you'd be prepared for it.
You'd
She
know how to
definitely
wrestle.
didn't look like she was prepared.
Yeah.
The other person looked prepared, so maybe, the other person just never watched the show. Who knows?
Unclear.
Even though she was real excited to do that obstacle course.
Yeah.
She wanted it.
Yeah.
I don't know. The face painter / body painter.
Face and body painter was her
Yeah.
profession.
Yeah.
There were some interesting professions on this. There was face and body painter. There was professional obstacle course runner. And then what was the like?
Well, there was a grad student / professional
It's like
obstacle course runner.
fitness brand owner.
Fitness brand
yeah.
owner. That's what I was trying to remember.
Is your
Such a
brand
good
just
title.
losing?
It's not like whatever co-founders, like just fitness brand owner.
It's an Instagram. She has an Instagram.
Well,
It
Max,
has a lot of
once you're
fit-
tired of all the winning, you can make your brand losing.
Sure, that's a very large market.
It is.
Do you think she went on the show assuming she could like pimp her brand somehow?
100%.
Because she definitely didn't get to pimp her brand at all.
Not at all.
There's only one brand being pimped on this show.
That would be an amazing TV show. Pimp My Brands.
Is that where Exhibit
I
just
believe-
comes in and like redesigns your logo or
Yeah.
something?
I believe that's called Shark Tank.
Yeah.
No, that's just the hidden undercover boss.
Pimp my
Undercover
brand.
boss pimp my brand. Celebrity Apprentice is kind of pimp my brand.
A little bit.
A little bit. So the wrestling match was pretty fun. I enjoyed this challenge as well.
Yeah.
It was
Tough
pretty-
wrestling match. I couldn't beat either of them. Not looking
Oh,
good.
no?
Not at all.
Like, the thing is, if the people were really good at this, and it made it seem like they did it without it being troubling or hard, like, it probably wouldn't have been as exciting. Like, the fact that it looked like it was hard for everyone
Yeah.
involved,
Yeah.
and it actually looked hard, like, made it much more compelling.
No
and
doubt.
it really looks like they're going for it.
Yeah.
Like, they're putting their all on these challenges.
Yeah. TJ doesn't find any quitters in this crew.
Yeah.
Like, I was surprised, like, the Braces McGee, as somebody called her,
oh,
like, definitely looked like she kind of gave up, but, like, she definitely, like, was pulling it towards the end of the first challenge.
I think
tried.
I think she was just done.
Yeah.
I mean, she was, like, we don't know how long those challenges took, but, like,
I got the feeling that one just went on for a while, and then she was just like exhausted by the end of it.
Yeah.
because she was the one that pulled it the other way a little bit.
That was the one that went
first.
back and forth. That was the one where she was in the lead for a little bit, but then she ended up losing. Yeah.
So then, after Corinna
Mm-hmm.
wins
the bracket.
we find out that she has a rivalry with the previous winner of the
The current
obstacle
defending
course.
champ,
The defending champ.
who apparently has set the record for most consecutive wins on the female side in the Skull Crusher
8.
Challenge.
Yeah.
So she was here for multiple seasons.
I guess so. That's the
So
only way
she
you
had
get
to
to
have
8.
been season 4.
Yeah.
And all of season 5.
So you carry you carry the belt to the next season.
Well, I mean,
She would have to redo the time for the new season because they changed the course, right?
yes, I'd have to assume.
oh, that's a good point.
Something would have to happen there.
Maybe there's only one, maybe there isn't a male person that's the defending champ. Maybe it's just one person.
Oh, she's just the champ. So the guy just got to try to beat her time?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Could be.
I'd be surprised if that was the case, but you might be right.
I would be surprised as well. But, like, that would make sense because this was the 8th episode. But no, I mean, she would have only had 7 wins. So, probably not.
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
So I got really excited when this part started happening because I didn't realize that this person was specific. At first, the person was specifically the winner, the current defending champion on the show. I thought that they had this amazing concept where, like, for the final round, like, they bring in, like, your lifelong, like, rival who you've just competed with for your whole life.
That would be really cool.
Because, like,
yeah.
like, a lot of people have that person who they've kind of gone head-to-head with and things throughout their life, and they just bring that person in for the ultimate challenge at the end.
I mean, I thought
that
it
would
was
be
gonna,
fun.
I thought it was going to be the defending champ versus you in this obstacle course.
Yeah. Like, run at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could just see the defending champ like 8 obstacles ahead
It's wrecking
because they're
stuff.
just so much better at it because they've got so much practice. 'Cause
Right.
They've just been playing everyone else.
It'd be crazy if they had to run on the course at the same time. You could fight the other person when they were running the course.
Well, I mean, I think you design it in a way where you do double.
Yeah.
You can have doubles.
But, like, imagine the scramble to try to get up that rope at the end if both people are trying to get up that rope. It'd be insane.
Just pull that rope down. I don't think that's how that would work. But I can't describe this obstacle course at all, but it looked pretty difficult.
It's like a Tough Mudder style kind of obstacle course that seems pretty hard.
Yeah. Do you want to try to run through all 10 things? Or is that
Nah,
just
I don't think so. It's just some.
There was
kinda-
like
They
a
do
ru-
a bunch of cool shit.
There's some platforming. There's some lifting, some big stuff. There's some run up hills.
The hill piece was pretty crazy. They'd
Yeah.
like run up a 40-degree hill for like 100 feet
That seemed pretty tough, for sure.
and then back down. The back down piece is also kind of hard.
Yeah,
That
she
40
was
degree
sliding
incline?
down her butt.
Bad
Must
idea.
have been getting torn up. That seemed terrible. I will say, like, one thing about the show versus the challenge is that, like, they do these challenges on, like, hard, rocky ground in a way that they don't really do on the challenge, which makes it seem a little more hardcore, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with the lighting, make it a little more orange, making like the rocks, makes it more feel like you're in the desert,
Yeah.
and like it definitely feels like it's probably the like rockier than it really is. 'Cause
Could be.
I feel like people are definitely getting injured more than they should. Like, no one was injured during the show, so like
You
That
didn't
we know of.
You didn't see people as cut up and scraped up as I would think they would be if they were rolling around the rocky ground. I don't
That's
know.
true.
it could just be like the where the cameras are, kind of like they get that foreground and it's a little rockier than the
Could be.
background.
Well, they did a good job then.
So one part of the obstacles we got to talk about though is the first thing is you take a log and you have to run down a road for a little while.
Man.
And then so picks up the log, starts running, and Steve Austin gets in this golf cart, but that's like souped up to kind of look like a Jeep or something. And he's driving down right behind her, giving his play-by-play. And he's like right behind her. He seems like he's going to hit her.
Like, if she just trips with that log on her, she's getting run over by Steve Austin. Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe it's already happened.
It's why it's the Skull Crusher Challenge. You get your skull crushed underneath that Jeep.
So if Steve Austin runs you over in a golf cart, do you get to rerun the Bone Crusher? Or are you just like, oh, that's part of how it goes?
You mean you get like a do-over? Or I mean, I like to think that Steve Austin is just one of the obstacles on the course. He just chases you with the golf cart. It's kind of like the Indiana Jones thing.
Oh yeah.
So do you think that you run this course faster with Steve Austin doing his play-by-play behind you, or are you just so annoyed at him doing the play-by-play behind you that you do worse?
It's a good question. I feel like Steve Austin would be a distraction, but if you're like a professional obstacle course runner, I feel like you've done the training to be able to tune out Steve Austin and his play-by-play.
Like, I mean, there's definitely, if somebody's giving you words of encouragement while you're doing it, I feel like you're going to give more effort. So I feel like you do better, but he wasn't really giving a lot of words of encouragement. It was just like a play-by-play.
I wouldn't say he is as inspirational as The Rock and The Hero, for example.
Oh,
Like,
come on. It's
he's-
not even a debate.
It's not the same league.
No, I'm just saying, like, but if it was, you know, you're clearly going to go, but
So
do
you're,
better.
so you're saying Steve Austin is not as inspirational as one of the most inspirational things we've ever seen.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But they're both, professional wrestlers. I'm kind of judging them in the same
This
criteria.
this is not the Independence Day speech.
No. Oh man.
So at the end of this episode, as we spoiled, the new contestant Corinna wins by a large margin.
So the old time was 7:52, and you thought like that seemed like a pretty solid time, and eight consecutive victories. So it seemed like if she was going to beat it, she was going to beat it by like a few seconds, and her time was 7:12.
Crushed
Insane.
Yeah, like Steve Austin was like 7 minutes. I'm like, oh, it's probably gonna be close here. Oh, nope. 7:12.
She crushed that time like Steve Austin crushes skulls.
Absolutely.
So at this point, like if you're this show and this person now she crushed it by 40 seconds. Are you gonna find anyone else that could beat that time? Like
She's gonna be
she's
all-time
just gonna be
champ.
like stagnant, and you just have to eventually just kick her off because she's too good.
Well, I think so. Let's say the season ends with episode 10. Then there's a new season. You have to redesign the thing to not play to her strengths. I think
Right.
that's the move.
Right.
What is not her strength?
I don't know.
Like,
You put more golf
then
carts.
what else do you have in there that isn't like her strength? Like you
I-
lifting big things, you
I-
pushing big things, you running like.
Maybe season 6 last season. She just runs the table, and then the Broken Skull Ranch is done. Then you switch the show to Broken Skull Ranch, and you make it Big Brother Steve Austin edition.
Oh man.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Veto. Not into it.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
Yeah. Anyone else got anything to say about this show?
Hell of a show.
It's an insane show.
Ratings?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Max, what's your rating?
Middle third, bottom. It's fun for one watch. I can't see myself watching more than 3 episodes.
Harrison?
Yeah, I'll agree. It's gonna be middle for me, probably towards the bottom of the middle. Yeah, I mean, like it was good. Like, I mean, it was definitely enjoyable to watch. I could see myself watching it if there was just like a random episode on TV or something, but it's not a show I'm gonna watch every week. I think it kind of suffers from like the fear factor problem of they have new contestants every week, so you can't really get invested in the people. Like, it's kind of nice that they have the champion that carries over, but they're not really a big factor on the show. So,
Rob?
I'm tempted to put in the top.
baby!
It was a lot of fun. The thing that's making me pause is how much of it is the novelty of just the show is insane, and then after you watch like 2 more episodes, it gets boring.
Yeah.
But in terms of just like a show that was like super entertaining to watch and had a smile on my face during it, I feel like it was really good. I might regret this. I'm putting the top.
Oh,
top third
nice.
show.
I agree with you, Rob. I think the show is really entertaining. I think it's the top third show.
Top
Wow.
Steve Austin's Broken Skull Challenge.
Okay.
This
2 top thirds.
This show does like respects my time. It's like moving. There's actually a lot of entertaining stuff that's happening.
There's a
Like,
lot of content.
Maybe if you like fast forward through like if you've already seen the obstacle course, you fast forward through that a little bit. But like, I think that we watch so many reality shows that just don't respect my time. The Challenge being one of them.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
We'll get to that shortly.
Oh yeah.
Just like, it's great to watch. It's refreshing to watch a reality show that like respects my time.
Yeah, that's reasonable. And there's not a lot of filler. Feels good.
I do think that they can film a lot of these at once, but as long as like they plan out, if there's not the same obstacles every week to week,
I definitely want to see what the variety looks like.
yeah. If there's no variety or anything, like obviously the obstacle course at the end changes every season,
Yeah.
but each episode needs to have different challenges in them
We
in
did
order
see
for it to stay at the top.
we did see a little sneak peek of next week's, and it seemed like there were some different challenges in there.
Yeah,
So, good sign.
I would definitely watch another episode. Like, I definitely want to see some males on this,
Sure.
because I want to like. When you're watching the challenge, the males are like more entertaining than the females to watch.
Yeah.
But the females in this were like very athletic and like top tier athletes. So it's definitely, I think, more entertaining than the females in the challenge doing challenges.
Yeah. I think that's reasonable.
Females in the challenge are there more for the drama than the competition.
Who
right?
was the one in the champs versus pros?
Lolo?
Lola? Like,
Lola,
it was like
yeah.
all of Lola Jones in this show, really.
Kind of. Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
they're all like,
Lolo's maybe different
Lolo's
level.
definitely a different level, but like, you know, they're definitely, I think, a level above the females in the challenge. Like a couple of them are at this level, but there's
Yeah.
definitely a lot of
I mean,
like lower tier
it's like-
politicking
like
females.
These are the kind of people you see at like the CrossFit championships and stuff like that.
Sure.
And they just went and picked them all off for the show.
Can we get Lolo Jones at the Broken Skull Ranch?
Oh man, she'd be crushing.
some sort of broken skull
Is
celebrity challenge.
Is Lolo on Champs vs Stars? Anybody know?
No.
I don't think so.
We went over this on the
Man,
We went
podcast.
over this multiple times.
That's tough.
There was the one week I was in here. James was like, "Who's on it?" I'm like, "We discussed this 2 weeks ago."
It's hard to
that
remember
definitely
sometimes.
happened. One last thing, I'd really love that Steve Austin has a catchphrase called that every time someone's done, he's like, "Now you got to be stepping down the road," and as they're like walking down the dirt out of the skull, out of the Broken Skull Ranch.
I thought that like if you were the last one, you wouldn't have that catchphrase because you're like
He even has the
you're at
catchphrase for
end,
the
you're
champ.
good. He's like, "Nope, there goes the champ walking down the road."
Champ, no, stepping
Down the road.
stepping down the road, and we'll see her soon.
Yeah.
Like
He doesn't
it's
have
so
room.
weird.
He doesn't have room for them at the Broken Skull Ranch. There's gotta be stepping down the road.
She's got to start crushing beers. Doesn't have time for you.
He's not crushing beers. I'm so confused where this is coming from.
Crushes beers, man.
All right, so I have something I want to say.
Say it.
I feel like last week I gave MythBusters like a pretty harsh
Oh.
review.
You're fired up.
I was so disappointed in that episode. Like it's not a bottom tier show. We'll bump it up to the middle tier, but like I was so disappointed at the
Yeah.
time that like I made a rash judgment. I think because in general it's like a top third show, but that's this specific season. If I watch more, it might go back to the bottom. But for now, I'm gonna put it back in the middle third. I don't know how to calm down a little bit.
So have you seen any more episodes, or
No.
or have it just been sitting with you? A little
I've just
bit?
I thought about it. I'm like, I was a little harsh because
Okay.
I like the show.
Yeah.
To put it in the bottom third seems a little
Does
harsh.
does this version of MythBusters have a different subtitle or anything?
No.
It's season 15.
15.
So it's like Scrubs season 9 where it doesn't exist, right?
In my mind, essentially.
Okay.
Like when I was giving my rating, I'm like, MythBusters, old host, top third.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
New hosts, it's definitely on the line of middle to bottom. I think I would have to see another episode or two.
Is
to
it
really-
Cary Grant and other guy?
No.
No, they're doing that Netflix one now.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So
So just a quick recap, Max. There was a reality show to find new hosts for MythBusters
Yeah.
that we have not watched but have added to the queue.
Okay.
And the winners of that are hosting season 15 of MythBusters.
And they're really bad?
So I don't have experience with MythBusters. They weren't great.
Okay.
the host, it's not really the host problem, I thought. The hosts were okay. It was kind of like season like 1 or 2 where they were like kind of get their feet wet on how to build the right things.
Sure.
Which is fine, but the myths they did were just bad. So like
It's always hard when you start out hosting a new TV show. It's not easy.
This
It
should-
takes a little time to find your footing.
They should do some insane myths like, the moon landing was hoaxed.
Oh man, that would be an amazing spin on the show. Is they do one insane conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
like the whole season.
So they have to land on the moon to prove the
Yeah.
myth is true.
Yeah.
That, yep, people definitely can land on the moon. We did it.
Myth not.
Oh man, it
busted.
ties in so much with our space shuttle talk last week.
Oh yeah.
All right. Is anyone else they want to talk about?
I think we need an update.
What's the update?
Oh, there is no update. Oh, that's
That's
right.
right.
There
No
isn't-
update.
we still haven't had the next show.
We're recording this pod a little bit early this week, so we don't have an update on finale part 2 of
Well,
the challenge or
don't
Champs
spoil
vs.
anything for me.
Stars. I'm not spoiling anything
Okay.
for you.
Sorry, I totally forgot there's no update. There's no
Yeah.
Are You the One update either because I haven't watched any more of that.
No,
like
no update.
spoilers. The end of the challenge is not great.
I've heard. I'm going to skip Reunion Part 1, but I will probably watch Reunion Part 2.
That's reasonable.
I would just watch the last 5 minutes of Reunion Part 2.
I'm still waiting for that big Tony segment on the reunion, and that's all I need.
What if
You
what if
didn't
they
like
don't
the
give it to
Corey
you?
segment?
The Corey segment is okay. It was okay.
Like we did not have sex on the beach.
Corey's very adamant about nothing happened on the beach.
It wasn't on the beach. It was off on the side.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
Do we need a quick Justice League update?
Oh,
Heard some people
actually,
saw Justice League.
I have a minor challenge update before that.
okay.
Go for it.
I just got back from a 2-week trip to Thailand and Cambodia, including the filming location of Invasion of the Champions.
What?
Yeah.
So did you visit? Did you visit
No,
the
yeah.
set?
I was like 5 miles away from it, but pretty nice place.
That's
Did you
pretty
stay
good.
at that house?
No.
Did you stay at the Challenger's house?
No,
The
but I
broken ass
went
house?
to a temple where one of the challenges was held.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Was there a challenge like tour? Could you have gone and like visited all the spots they went to?
It's hosted by TJ Lavin.
like the Game of Thrones tour where you go see where like some of the Game of Thrones scenes were filmed.
I was thinking more Lost, but yeah, they should do that. Maybe not Cartagena, but
Cartagena.
Cartagena.
this is the mountain where, you know, what's his face? Hunter had to eat a bunch of shitty food.
This is where the Presidio was. Now this family lives here.
Presidio. Yeah. Oh,
Did
man.
you do some politicking there in honor of the challenge?
No.
So yeah, Justice League.
Yeah.
Did we talk about Thor too? We could talk
have
about
not
both.
talked about
I had
Thor.
big superhero movie weekend. I saw Justice League and Thor this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually not a bad double feature.
It was pretty good. Pretty good.
I mean, I saw Thor a couple of weeks ago when it came out,
Yeah.
but Justice League. I mean, they're both. I mean, I like Thor more
Yeah.
than Justice League, but they're both fun.
So you like good movies better than bad movies?
I don't think Justice League is necessarily a bad movie
Mm.
because Joss Whedon actually injected some life into the movie.
I thought
Unlike-
it was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be horrible based on all the reviews, and it was definitely a lot better than I was expecting it to be.
When the reviews I saw, no one said it was like outright terrible.
Yeah.
I can send you some reviews.
I
that
mean, I'm
clearly say
sure.
it's outright terrible.
It's not in the ballpark of like Batman versus Superman to me. Like it's not that bad.
Did I break it?
Oh, we're good.
I did
Okay.
not see it, and I have no intention to see it.
I mean, it's not like you're watching like the Superman 1 or 2 from the 70s or Batman from 1990 or the Dark Knight trilogy. But, you know, it was definitely fun. Like, I enjoyed watching the movie. It was a fun popcorn flick. But is that what you do with the top 5, like, you know, people, well-known characters ever? Like,
Yeah.
you could definitely do a better
Is
job.
Cyborg a top 5 well-known character ever?
Max, you
Cyborg.
read my mind.
All right, sorry, like 2, 3, like 3 of them are in the top 10.
Sure.
Yeah.
They didn't take their time doing
Khal
the setup
Drogo?
for this thing. There was no Aquaman movie.
I don't
No
really. I
Cyclops
don't want an
movie.
Aquaman.
No
movie.
one wants a Cyclops movie, Harrison.
No Cyclops. But, like, I'm just saying, like, Marvel takes the time to set these things up so you don't have to introduce
like,
so
sorry,
many characters in the
They
same
never
movie.
gave us a Marvel
Excuse me,
Arrow guy
Cyclops?
movie.
Cyclops movie. Cyclops was not awful in this
Do
movie.
you mean Cyborg?
Sorry, Cyborg.
This is not the.
different superhero.
This is not the X-Men. Okay.
Cyborg. I get confused with the part human, part
Sure,
robot
sure.
superhero
Yeah.
characters.
He shot lasers out of his eyes.
Geordie LaForge?
I thought that was Superman who could shoot
Yeah,
lasers
there's a
out
lot
of
of
his
people
eyes.
shooting lasers out of their eyes these days. All I was thinking when I was watching this movie is like, how can we just get Wonder Woman into the Marvel movies? Like,
They're-
so good in those movies.
Their Captain Marvel's coming. She's
Cap-
got her own movie coming up.
It's not going to be as good as Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it's not going to be, but that's like the Wonder Woman equivalent in the Marvel universe. I feel.
But it's not
going to
be Gal Gadot though,
No,
right? Yeah. So
No, it's Brie Larson.
I'm just saying,
I don't think we need all the superheroes to live in the same universe.
put them all in the same one.
Do you think the Fast franchise regrets killing off Gal Gadot's character?
Oh, yes.
100%.
I
But they-
regret that they did it.
They went all in on Michelle Rodriguez as their key female character of the Fast franchise.
But
Yeah.
they also resurrected her from the dead, so, I mean, you can do whatever you want.
It's true.
I guess it's
Gal
true.
Gadot was wearing a parachute in her dress.
Yeah, something. Yeah. Yeah, it was alright though. But then I saw Thor the next day, and it was definitely a better movie.
I mean, it's
think.
funnier,
definitely funnier.
but I don't think either of them is like an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Thor is definitely overrated. So I did see Thor.
Yeah.
And the reviews are like, oh, this is like so amazing. And it's good. It's not that good.
Yeah.
It's very forgettable.
Jeff Goldblum, though.
Jeff
top
Goldblum,
notch.
so good.
I would say, yeah. Oh, Goldblum. Goldblum
Where,
like, makes the movie.
Harrison, where was the Goldblum movie? They didn't even set him up at all.
Dude, I think you don't need,
You need a
you don't need to
Goldblum
set that
movie.
guy up. They set him up in this movie. They didn't spend any time setting up Aquaman. They're just like, oh man, he catches fish for some fishing village. That's Aquaman. And then he didn't even do anything with water for the whole movie.
All right. Let's pitch. What's the plot of the Jeff Goldblum standalone movie?
Oh man.
Is
So
this,
is
pre-
it
is
a
this a
prequel or a
prequel?
sequel?
Yeah, that's what we need to know.
You tell me. What's the best use of the Goldblum?
I kind of want to see the prequel of like Scrappy Goldblum setting up this insane fighting pit government thing that he has going, whatever that thing is.
So I got it. What if they do sequel to Independence Day 2 that's also a prequel to this? It's the same Jeff Goldblum character.
Nice.
It
I
totally
like it.
could be.
I like it.
They're like on the way to like that sphere's planet.
Yep.
He gets jumped off into this weird other world.
Oh, that
But
seems
that
great.
means that all the Marvel stuff lives in the same universe as Independence Day.
Yeah. Then
That's okay.
Then you have Iron Man versus the aliens from Independence Day.
Like the Marvel stuff being in the Independence Day universe is the least concerning thing. Like that is you can write that
I mean,
in
there's
so
some sort of
easily.
timeline problems with that, but that's just me.
It's fine, dude. It's all fucking Doctor Strange made everybody see the aliens. I don't know.
I think that's the main problem with that.
Oh man.
But Jeff Goldblum is amazing in that movie.
Yeah.
Too good.
I don't know what else.
I think that's it.
That's it. Is it everyone?
I
Yeah.
think that's pretty much it.
All right, guys.
When you do the 2 episodes so close together, there's not a lot of time to watch the other TV shows in between.
Guess that's true.
Oh, actually, I do have an anti-plug.
Okay.
I took 10 airplane rides over this month, and one of the people sitting next to me was watching Transformers: The Last Night.
Oh God,
Ooh.
why? That's even torture on a plane.
Yeah,
It's more torture.
So, like, I'd glance over every once in a while, and there's some fucking weird shit going on in that movie. It starts off with like the court of King Arthur, and then the fucking Transformers march up, and they're like fighting for King Arthur.
I've
There's
listened to reviews of these movies, and they're like, he's retconned the Transformers in every important piece of history.
That's
There is
great.
a scene where the Transformers assault like a Nazi palace.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That sounds
Don't
pretty
watch
great.
this fucking movie.
Yeah,
but
the way you make it seem like it's watchable.
oh
Yeah.
no, like I was just watching this from behind. I'm like, I can't believe this exists.
So is this one of the Mark Wahlberg ones?
yeah.
Okay.
Uh, Michael Bay and Mark Wahlberg have said this is their last Transformers, but there will be more Transformers.
There's going to be that Bumblebee movie.
I don't-
Finally, the Bumblebee origin story I've always been clamoring for.
Here's the thing: the bottom finally fell out of the Transformers box office. They might stop making Transformers movies.
I mean, it's
I'm
got to
pretty
be
sure that-
so expensive to make those movies.
That's the thing, like-
like
when Transformers 4 came out, everyone said it was terrible and they hated on it and stuff, and it made so much money.
right.
It's all the Chinese box office.
But there's the thing: the international for the latest Transformers dropped a bunch,
Really
so it didn't do as well.
interesting.
I mean, I
Hashtag
can't believe
bring
the,
back Shia.
I can't believe.
Oh, bring back Shia! If they made Transformers 6 and it was only 2 hours and they brought back Shia, I'd be in.
And
I'm in.
somebody else directed it.
Michael Bay directed the other Shia ones. I watched all those.
Those are also bad.
It's like if the first Wahlberg one had been 2 hours, I definitely would have seen it. And then I saw it was 3 hours, and I was like, I can't.
I remember liking the first one.
Yeah.
I still ride for the first one. The other two
I
are
haven't
really
s-
bad, but kind of entertaining.
I
But the
haven't
first one is
seen-
actually good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the first one in a while, but like the second one is just aggressively bad.
It's
Is that the
real
one
bad.
with the two?
Yeah, the racist
Yes.
robots.
Yeah.
Michael Bay used to make decent movies until he got obsessed with Transformers. Like he made a good Transformers movie. He just needs to move on. He needs to move on from that though.
Well, I don't know if he got obsessed with Transformers or they just backed up a ton of money. and be
Sure.
like, please keep making Transformers
they just
movies.
they backed up the dump truck full of money in his
He even
driveway,
made
and he
that
had no
really funny
choice.
commercial where he was like,
Yeah.
"I'm Michael Bay and I blow stuff up in my like giant house."
Yeah.
And I don't really even remember what that commercial was for, but it was funny.
Harrison, he did move on from Transformers onto the critically acclaimed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
He also worked on Pain and Gain in there somewhere. That was
Pain
a
and
pretty good
Gain
movie.
is my favorite movie of his.
Ooh, that's a big statement. Pain and
That
Gain's
is-
your favorite Michael Bay movie?
Better than The Rock?
What about The Rock? What about Bad Boys?
No, Pain and Gain
Oh,
is
man.
It's definitely The Rock.
The
Gotta
Rock.
be The Rock.
So
Not Armageddon, Harrison.
It's definitely The Rock for me as opposed to
Armageddon is close, actually.
It's a great movie. I mean, Michael Bay has made some bangers.
So Michael Bay has ruined Michael Bay's previous movies for me. Like he is so formulaic, and the formula is just terrible. Like every action piece is just shot terribly. He's just the one doing it. So I tried to watch The Rock, and I was just like, this is Michael Bay, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, where it's happening, and what's like at all.
What do you mean where it's happening? It's happening on Alcatraz.
Yeah, well, the timeline's always screwed up. The like finding out where you are in a place and the timeline of things that are happening is just all off.
Yeah.
So like it's hard for me to enjoy because he does it so bad in Transformers, it makes The Rock worse.
I don't like. I think he's good at showcasing great actors and letting them do their thing in some crazy situations. I think that you get the Sean Connery Goldblum combo. You get the Will Smith
Goldblum.
Sorry, not Goldblum.
I was like,
oh my god,
He was in that movie?
Nicolas Cage combo. They got Goldblum on the mind.
I was trying to think,
You got
was
the-
Goldblum in a Michael Bay movie?
got the-
and I was like, no.
You got the Martin Lawrence Will Smith like you got
No,
some
Bad
strong,
Boys is definitely a better movie.
yeah, it's good.
I feel like you guys have The Rock too high up.
Rock is so good.
I was just reading the wiki page for Michael Bay. In the relatives section, it says Leonard Nimoy, open parentheses, cousin-in-law, close parentheses.
Okay.
That's not really worth mentioning.
Interesting.
Cousin-in-law? What even is that?
Cousin,
Your wife is their cousin?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
I don't think that's really a relative.
Maybe
Yeah, I don't really call
your
my
wife's cousin is their cousin.
cousins like wife or husband like my cousin. Like that's just weird.
Cousin-in-law.
It's just a weird thing. Oh,
I would use that for like an aunt or an uncle, but not a cousin-in-law.
yeah. All right.
On that note,
On that note, please rate us on iTunes at Who Put This On. You can find us on Facebook.com/Who Put This On. You can tweet at us at Who Put This On. You can email us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. Please rate us on iTunes. Please. And we'll see you guys next time.
stepping down the road.